practicing Excel. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to have some data that you're going to be asked to graph. So let's create some data to graph. Make it interesting. We don't like boring data. So let's come over here. Let's make some interesting data. First, we will enter a starting point for some data. And let's make this formula be 0.2 greater than the one above it. By doing this is equal to the one above it, B3, plus, let's try 0.2. And now, since that's a formula, let's copy that formula down a few. Let's go all the way around to something close to pi, 3.14. So a little past pi. Now, let's create some more data. Let's create something interesting. How about a function? Now, remember how we could figure out the functions. I'm going to give you a function like do the sum. You will know those. But suppose you don't know what function to use. Let's look under what functions are available. And let's look for, what do we have here? Logical information, engineering. Oh, math and trig. Trig is one of my favorites. Let's choose the cos function, also known as cosine. Now I could have just typed equal cos, and the number I want to do the cosine of is that number right there, B3. And I hit enter. And then I fill handle that down to do me cos of all the numbers to the left. And I get some interesting numbers. Now let's do a similar thing. This time I'm going to, since the wonderful memories of trigonometry have come back to my mind, I'm going to do equal, now this is, we don't like this in Bible college, but this is a valid function in math, sin, also known as sine, pronounced sine, have that same number over there in column B.
I always knew math was sinful.
Yeah, sinful. Trigonometry is especially sinful. Now, same thing, I'm going to copy that formula down all the way down. And now, we just have some interesting looking numbers. And actually, I would like to go to 2 pi, which would be around 6.2. So let's select all three of those and continue that sequence of numbers all the way to about 6. Now I have lots of numbers, fun numbers. Watch how fun they can be. So we entered some data. Remember the thing here, when we have a sequence or we have a function, when we copy it, we don't need any stickies unless we only want to reference that particular value forever when I copy. And remember, we'll be doing some sticky practice as well. But for now, let's create a graph of these numbers. Now, I will probably be coloring the numbers, and the instructions will say something like, put the numbers up there in gray. Let's have some colored numbers here. Made up some numbers here. Let's color them. I'll do a fill of, how about an orangey fill? Those numbers up there, I want to create a graph of. Well, remember what you have to do first. The easiest thing to do is select the cells first by dragging through them. Then I can go over to Insert, and let's see what they recommend for charts for this. Oh, look at that! There is a scattered chart. What kind of chart is that? That's a clustered column chart. They look very interesting, but I kind of like the scattered chart. But I could also go to all charts and see what types of scattered charts are available. Underneath scattered charts, I have scattered with smooth lines and markers, scattered without markers, scattered with straight lines between them, scattered with straight lines. That looks interesting. Little bubbles.
Looks like one of those fuzzy worms.
They're crawling around over each other. Let's try the scattered with smooth lines with markers. And I click OK. And look what I have. I have just drawn a circle, taking me back to those wonderful memories of trigonometry.
Goody.
How the sine and cosine basically represent, the cosine represents this distance as I go around and around in a circle. And let's make it a circle by adjusting the proportions of this chart. And remember all those fun things. My geometry teacher, at the start of every class, he would slam the door as hard as he could. Let's change that to a circle. Look, a circle. I love trigonometry.
Oh man.
I don't think I can put that.
Yes, you must type that.
But I cannot lie, Mr. Manning. I should
We're
put.
talking about sin.
I knew sin has led me into temptation.
Yes. Now remember with charts, if I asked you, you could move it to a different sheet by right-clicking, move the chart. But remember what you can also do with charts. You've just done adjust the title. You can adjust the style underneath chart styles. Lots of fun stuff once I have a chart. Now, the important thing to remember is if you want to create a chart of the data, it's easiest to select the data first and then insert the chart. And you will be given the type of chart. So whatever chart we choose, we might get some interesting looking charts. Oh, it won't do it with that kind. Let's try a different kind of chart. Different charts will give you different information. Kind of interesting, different charts. That doesn't look very interesting. How about pie chart? Or any other chart. Once the data is selected, then you can choose the type of chart. So that's the only thing to worry about here is when you need to make a chart, remember it's select the data I'm going to plot and then insert the type of chart that's been requested. And once I have the chart, double click to adjust the title or choose a different style. You can select it, start, and choose a different style for the chart. Oh, showing the numbers up, that's very helpful. Okay, so numbers and then insert chart once the number's been selected. Okay, that's that first practice. Now, let's see what else, other kind of things you will need to know. Regarding data, Excel is wonderful at storing data and keeping it in our little cells. But sometimes we want information about that data. Now remember, there are these standard functions over here. Oh, if I click up somewhere in a cell that's not being used. Now the auto sum or the regular set of functions are available. Let's look at these basic ones. Remember, sum would give you the summation of all the numbers given a range. Average will give you the average of multiple cells in a range. Let's do average just to practice. If I want the average, it will try to guess at the numbers I want the average of. And then remember, you can then go drag through the actual numbers you want the average of. And then when you're done, don't forget to hit enter or click the checkbox when you're done, or it will do crazy things if you go click somewhere else. See the crazy things that happen? So be sure to select what you want to do the average of if you're doing something like this. Then hit enter and then go on to the next problem. Suppose you're being given a question of, give me the count of all the formula, of all the cells that have numbers in them. Well, I could select the range that I want to count numbers in, and then come back to my, oh, I guess I have to start the count function first. Let's do equal count, and then left parenthesis, and now go back and select the data. Sometimes if you're starting the function, you have to start the function first, then go drag through the data you want to count the numbers on. Then hit enter, and it will give you a number. If I'm not sure what that means, I can always go to the count function, click on it, and it will explain what that function does for me. It counts the number of cells that contain numbers. That might be useful sometimes when I want to know the average of all those numbers in a grid, but the average I only divide by where I do have numbers entered. This would be great for teachers in their grading charts that would give you the average of your grade before the entire chart is completed. So it would not be averaging in things that haven't been assigned yet or entered yet. Maybe I'll have to do that with Excel. That's why Excel is so much better at creating grading charts than even things like Schoology. So any function you're given, if you're given a hint at a function, this little guy right here can take you to the world of Excel functions for you to perhaps, from a hint, know what we're looking for. like time and date functions. Let's see, is there a function that tells me it'll convert a date text to a number that represents the date in Excel date time code. And there's also a function called now that gives me the current date and time format as a date and time. And this is something we did. Suppose I were given the function, calculate how old you are using Excel. Let's try that. How would you know how old you are? Is there a year? There's a year date in the range, year of a date. 2 dates and the years between them. Hey, that might be very helpful. Let's try that. Let's figure out, let Excel figure out how old you are by entering equal now is a function I saw in date and time with no parameters needed, minus, and then put in your birthday. I'm going to put in my birthday, 11/18/1961. And I get this strange looking number, 44,000. But let's change that into that difference to be inside of year frac and all of that inside the parentheses. Let's see if that tells me how old I am. Too few arguments. Oh, it takes 2 dates. It takes 2 dates separated by a comma. I forgot about that. It takes 2 dates, parameter 1, parameter 2. Now let's see what happens. I am 120.8 years old.
Wow.
It seems like there's a problem with that function. I did the same thing when I divided by now minus my birthday and divided by 365. I also got a number like this. So it's not working the way it used to. But anyway, you will be given clues as to functions to enter. Remember where to go to look for functions available. This little guy right here, or underneath that some more functions. And I'll try to be kind to you about the kind of function to look for, like average, standard deviation, pretty much standard mathematical things. Okay, so doing functions using all the function tools available in Excel. Very powerful feature of Excel that anyone that has basics of Excel should know about.
So
Okay.
you might not do like the more functions option, or it'll be mostly like.
I will definitely give you one not in this list.
Okay.
But know these are there, but there will probably be another one you have to find, given a fairly clear clue. Okay. Remember how you can go find that underneath the more functions and then multiple categories, or you can just show them all and then search for a particular thing in the function. I won't make it so hard that you have to do some very tricky search for it. Okay. Then let's do a little practice here. Another thing you should learn, conditional formatting. Remember the conditional formatting. Let's do a -1, a 0, and a 3. And let's just say these are some numbers I want to apply conditional formatting to. I'll color them in orange for now. Let's do something like this. Conditional formatting, color all negative numbers with bold red font. In any of these cells, if they turn out to be negative, turn the font red. This does not mean go click on the -1 and turn it red. No, no, no. We have to apply conditional formatting to this set of cells and go to the conditional formatting section. And under here, remember we're going to do the basic things. We're going to learn new rule, format cells that contain, and then cell value. Negative means less than 0. There's the condition. Now the formatting, I click on the format button, and here under format, I go to font, bold, color red. And it didn't say the size, but I could make it a specific size too if I wanted to when it was negative. Oh, look at that. It's not letting me choose the size. Interesting. Interessante. And I click OK. And now OK again. And look at that. The negative 1 suddenly appeared red. But if I change that to a 1, it goes back to the normal format. So we see conditional formatting working based on the value of those cells. Another very useful thing, especially for accountants, negative numbers, we would like to have them automatically show up red if the calculation comes up negative in the projected revenue or something. Okay, so now you've done a little practice with conditional formatting. Remember how that was done? Select the cells to apply to, conditional formatting, new rule. If you have made a rule and you're not sure about it, you can go back and manage the rules and click on the one that you want to edit or remove and start over, or come back and edit that rule. Okay? Conditional formatting. There is one problem with conditional formatting. Now there's some other basic things about adjusting your height and width of rows. I'm going to skip over that to some harder ones. An if formula. Let's practice the if formula. Here you're given an if formula. A statement something like this. You receive your commission if your sales meet or exceed the quota. The commission is listed here of 2 million dollars. You decide you're getting. Your sales, or no, let's make the quota. The quota is 10,000. And your sales are 10,001. Now we better make sure that you receive your commission. That's a large commission. So we better put the if formula here. Let's put in my commission. Now from that statement, we have to take a guess at some of the values. Remember, I will tell you we are using the if formula. And the format of the if formula is the logical test, the true value, and the false value. So, if formula would go right here, my commission. You start it with equals if. Now, think about this. What would be the logical test in XLE's formula format? My commission is there, and my quota is there, my sales are there. What would you put for the logical test? Anyone want to take a stab at it?
Like if, wouldn't it be like if greater than the quota, then the quota.
Something greater than the quota. Yep, you're warm.
If your sales are.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So sales would be that number there. I can click on that and I see that's D56. Now you said greater than, but it's meet or exceed. So greater than or equal, and then quota. Yep, that would be it. I don't need any stickies. Don't even think about stickies or absolute referencing until you get to something that asks for it. Because unless you're copying formulas, you don't need to worry about stickies. So that's a conditional test, or that's the logical test. The value of true would be, well, yes, I get my commission. I get D, whatever's in D54. Otherwise, you don't lose your job, you just don't get your commission. So we put a 0 here. and I can be lazy and not hit the right parenthesis, it will do it for me. Yay, I got my commission! Oh, too many zeros in my sales. Oh, no, I don't get my commission. So the value of this number determines whether or not commission shows something. So there's your if formula practice. Okay? Well, let's do, let's just for fun, let's do a practice with absolute referencing. We're going to create an addition table. A big plus here. Let's use some larger numbers to give us more of a challenge. Let's start at 51. And we'll go up to one at a time, 51, 52, and now I can select both and continue the sequence. Remember, if I have a sequence, selecting two numbers in the sequence and then dragging over will help let Excel guess at what I meant for the sequence, counting up by one. And over here, let's put other numbers here. Let's count, let's do the 50s and the 40s, 41. And let's go up by one on that one too. Selecting them both, fill handle down. And I'll shade them. I'll shade the numbers that I'm doing the addition of by putting them in a little shady color. Now the formula that must include some stickies, just to give you practice at the meaning of that. Let's just do it without the stickies and then figure out where the stickies go. So this number here is going to be equal to that number plus that number. And it works fine if I'm not copying the formula. But if I want to copy the formula and I copy down, I get some strange numbers that are not the correct addition. Control Z that. No, I don't want that. Let's put our stickies in the right place before we copy this formula. So let's think about the stickies. Think to yourself, I always get the value that I'm adding from here. I always get it from row 62. So row 62 cannot change. I must put some glue next to row 62 reference by doing the little dollar sign. That's my sticky right there. So 62 will stay a 62. And as I copy to the right, I don't want column C referencing this number to change to column B. So I put glue on the C to keep it stuck at letter C. Now I am ready to copy that formula down. The sticky keeps the row 62 from changing, and the sticky C keeps the reference to column C from changing. But as I go to the right, the other number will change. The row does change when this reference, so this one will go down. The column does change as I go to the right in this row. So sticky practice with a addition table as our example. Most of the time though, you just do an absolute referencing, typically to like an assumption somewhere in a budget, which would be something good to practice. Let's practice a quick little budget, and we'll also put a. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We'll also put an if formula in there. So let's make a budget practice. If you don't remember anything else from Excel in your experience, remember how you can form a table of budgets. So let's go ahead and we'll have the month of the year across the top. Then down in each row we'll have our beginning balance. We'll have some income.
That's good.
Always good to have income. And our income will be, how about we have our job. We have gifts. from mom.
Wow.
And we have income from investments. Now, normally you actually don't count it as income until you actually are taking things out of your investments. But we'll count it as income. We'll say we're getting it delivered, our income from our investments is being paid to us in a check. Nice thing about investments, you don't get paid taxes on it, and it doesn't count as income until you sell it. So let's go ahead and put in some expenses. First thing first, let's get our food, our clothing, our mortgage or rent, and we need to travel around, automotive, and entertainment. Oh, I forgot to do this with our section 1. Oops. Our tithing. Now let's have a total expenses. And then we'll have our ending balance. Let's make up some numbers now. First of all, we'll put in a number, January. Not a number, a name of a month. And then fill handle over, automatically filling in our month names. We'll start only in January with a balance of $20,000. Now in our income category, our job, we get $1,500 a month in our job. Now we get gifts from mom only if our balance, and let's add a note to that. Right click, insert comment. Let's add a balance. Mom sends $1,000 when our balance is less than $10,000. That's a little note I attach just by doing the right click, insert comment. When you hover over the cell, the little comment pops up. So we need to make that an if formula. Equals if, well, the condition is when our income is, or when our balance is less than 10,000. So if balance up there less than 10,000, then she sends me $1,000. Otherwise, I get nothing from mom, 0. So send $1,000 when our balance is less than 10,000. And just to test it, I could come up here and remove a few zeros and see, yes, she wants to send me some money. Put the zeros back in my beginning balance. Now our investments, let's just estimate we're going to get $900 from our investments. And now, oh, I forgot to give total income. Let's insert a row. Right click, insert. Let's give total investments. So, sorry, total income. That would be, oh, we have the auto sum there for us. Use those when it's handy. Numbers are right next to me. And then it stops at the next blank. Yep, that would be a good sum of our income. Now expenses. Let's just make up some numbers. Food, $300. Clothing. Oh, we need clothing. Rent. Oh, we're living really cheaply on the rent. $500 in a little camper.
Oh, nice.
Automotive, we're making payments, we're paying for gas. Let's say we're doing $400. Entertainment, oh come on, we need our entertainment, $500. Tithing, well let's make it a formula. 10% of our total income equals that total income for that month times 0.1 or 10% simple will give me the same number. And now total expenses I use my auto sum, and it stops in the right place, and I hit enter. Now my ending balance, here comes the very important formula. You cannot receive your diploma without this. Ending balance is beginning balance plus total income minus total expenses. We've just gone down just a tiny bit in our balance. Down $540. If I adjust my expenses, I can make it more interesting. Let's spend a little bit more on our rent. We just want to move up. Let's spend a little bit more. Let's go up, not too high. Let's go up to $2,000 in our rent. That would be a pretty nice apartment in New York. Well, in New York, maybe not that nice of an apartment. In Dubuque, that'd be a great apartment. In New York, it's a closet. Now, it's a little scary. What's the beginning balance for February? It's simple formula. Equal what's here, the ending balance of January. That's all you need to do. You can have one cell mirror what shows up in another cell just by doing equal and then that cell value. No other math needed. And now, I believe I can select all of these formulas and copy them over to the other months. Don't panic because I haven't yet copied over March's beginning balance from February's ending balance. And it's a little more interesting because I see that in June, Mom's gift kicks in because I am overspending. I bought that new house, and it looks like from now on, Mom is going to be needing to send me $1,000 or find me a better place or find me a better job because my balance is going down, 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 even though Mom is sending me money. So there is your budget table. And often students are a little panicky by this time, and they forget one of the easiest things with this problem, putting these in nice accounting format. And a good strategy for tests is do the easy stuff first. Select through all the numbers, put them in accounting format or comma style, and now they're nicely lined up. If you were told to put total rows apply styles, well, it would make sense on any total row to apply a style format to it. Where is that style? Style right there. Let's put total on those. Let's put total on that. And total style on that. If I want things to be bold, select through Control B. Select through the row headings and Control B. Now there are other ways of applying a nice style to a table of numbers up here in Format as Table. But unless you have a table in a specific format, it'll kind of be confusing. Suppose I decide that I want the tithing percent to be down here in an assumption. So let's put tithing. And let's set that right now as 11%. Now this formula would change. Instead of 10% times D87 times my total income, I want it to be this number times D87. Well, I can select through that backspace. My insertion point is there. I can come and click on there, and it puts that cell number in there. But don't forget, I'm going to be copying this formula, replacing every other month. So Hitting F4 will do the stickies for me for referencing absolute reference to that tithing number. I don't really need the sticky on anything except column D, but it doesn't hurt to leave it on both. I hit enter, then I come back and fill handle over the new formula that is now adjusting my tithing. And now I see that tithing is still pointing to the absolute reference to that cell. So we practiced graphing some data, doing some formulas, doing some conditional formatting, doing a practice with the if formula. Let's see what else you might need here. Remember how you could adjust any cell or any row or column's width by just grabbing the edge of a row or column right up in the gray, and as you drag it you will see both the height in points and the height in pixel if you're adjusting a row. If I adjust the column width, I can grab the edge of a column and drag left or right and see the width in points or the width in absolute pixels. Now I left this chart in an ugly style. I'm going to fix that by clicking that, go to my chart and choose a different style. Oh, I don't want to see the numbers. Oh, it won't let me get rid of viewing the numbers. Well, I guess I have to go over here and turn off viewing the data labels. There we go. Oh, and I forgot to give it a title. Let's go ahead and select the title and choose Fun Graph. Let's do another practice with the chart just for fun here. Let's just choose some numbers, just for random numbers here. Let's choose that set of numbers. I'm curious, if I have negative numbers and positive numbers, what would the pie chart look like? You think it'll do a pie chart with negative numbers? Let's see what happens. Insert pie. I don't know what it did. It looks like it just chooses, maybe it turns it into a positive size of the slice of pie. So remember, when you're creating charts of data, all you gotta do is select them and then insert the chart you're asked to create. I will be giving you instructions about what kind of chart to make. I won't leave you to just guess. Insert data I know might produce a pretty chart. And let's see here, what else would you need to know in, with rows and columns, remember you can also click on any column or row, right click in the gray and hide it. And it shows up as a slightly wider bar right there. I can select through multiple rows or columns and right click unhide, or just adjust any width of any of those and it will automatically make the hidden and everything on both sides of it the same width. So you can right click hide or right click unhide any column. Remember how to do that? I can right click, type hide, and that hides it. Or another way to do it is I can just grab the edge of a row or column and just drag it till it's nothing. And that's the same as hiding it. So I can manually drag it, make it disappear, or right click hide it. And sometimes it's hard to unhide it after you have my cursor just in the right place. So right click hide and unhide, or just drag the edge of it to its other edge and it will automatically hide it. And that is, let's see here, what else did we do in Excel that was a challenge? charts, we did conditional formatting, put in charts, formatted a table, hiding that, absolute referencing. Well, let's do a basic formula here. Say you're given a formula of income. Where is that? Did that already. Did that. Oh, let's do a table of data. Let's format a table of data. You're going to need to do that. So let's just make up a table. How about this table? We'll format our lovely addition table into a lovely format. Here's how easy that is. Select through the data you want to format as a lovely table. Go to Home Page, Format as Table, and then pick your style. This one, since it doesn't it sort of has a header. Let's try this style. It shows me my table. I'm going to say yes, it has headers. It does a goofy thing with that top row. It makes them have little hold-on handles. If we want to undo those hold-on handles, there's one more step I have to do. I can select through that top row, and I can convert to range under Design. And now it looks like a decently formatted table with that top part being a header. Select through the data, Format as Table, choose the format, apply it, and there you go, a formatted table. If you want to turn those from being the pull down, select it, and then under Design, convert to range. And let's see here, is there anything else? Oh, if you're given a date in any particular format, say your birthday. I'll put a birthday here, a special person. 2/26/63. It's a very special person's birthday. If I want to view that as a date in a different format than that, remember I can come over here to Date, More Number Formats, choose Date, and then these other types of formats show up. And I know, I double click on that column, and I know this person's birthday was on a Tuesday.
That's cool.
There are people that you can give them a date, and they automatically can know what day of the year it is. I don't know how in the world they do that. So,
That's nuts.
interesting people.
Whose birthday is that?
That is Lois's birthday.
Really? Oh wow! She is younger than my dad. Interesting. When's your birthday, Mr. Manning?
November 18, 1961. Last Wednesday.
You're younger than my dad. Oh my goodness.
No.
My dad is old.
Well, that is it for a little Excel practice. I will save this recording.